we will tell you a bit about our story and, some high points to watch out for. There are key 5 points we have noted down, and then we just finished a 3-day, full-day virtual conference in our home office, and it was mind-blowing. See, and the same story, the same journey, is all a common factor for everyone about how their journey started and how far it is going. But eventually, they got there.
Yeah, and before we dive too deep into all of this, we would love to know where you're tuning in from. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. We are live from Airdrie, Alberta, here in Canada, as you all know. And for those who don't know us, who are seeing us for the first time, again, this is Agape and Akin. We live in Airdrie, Alberta. We've got 3 children. And we started this page in 2019 when we started our online business.
Yep.
And today we're going to share, some nuggets with you guys, share a bit of our story, how far we've come. And yeah.
So point number 1. Once we mentioned the points we wanted to share with you, there are 5 points for today. Then we'll tell you a bit about our story, how it relates to that point. Yeah. So point number 1, there is no better time.
Yeah, that's like
there's no better
There's no better time to do anything. So if you have something on your heart that you think that you want to do, just do it. Just do it, because our own big example was that 4 years ago, we were at a point in our lives where things were not going the way we wanted, right? Yeah. And so I'll start with me. 20 years ago, I had said to myself that I wasn't going to work for anybody. Because I went, put myself through school doing business. I loved the business world. I loved being an entrepreneur. Just the fact that I could do things with my hand and make money from there. Like I was buying and selling. I was coming up with business ideas and everything. So I said I wasn't going to work for anybody. But of course, that didn't work out the way I thought. Even though I still ran businesses, I realized that, especially after we got married, we started having kids, we realized that one income was definitely not enough. Like, how will I put it? One income that was stable. Because as an entrepreneur, you know that your income can be unstable at times, right? And so I found myself in the corporate world, did that. And before I knew it, it was 20 years. It was 20 years, right? And same for Akin as well. Even he also had businesses back, when we were still in Nigeria and everything, and he was working in the banking industry. So it was like we've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, right? So anyway, fast forward to 2019, we're like, my goodness, like what is going on here? We're still finding ourselves in this position where we're lacking. Even though we're working full time, we're giving our best to our jobs, we're doing all of these things, but our money was never enough. On paper, it looked good. It was 6 figures. It was over 100,000 between the both of us in a year. But we all know how that goes. The tax comes in first. Before you even see your money, the tax comes and takes its bit, and then the bills take their bits. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, I'm waiting for the next month's pay, right? And so we in 2019, we're like, okay, we know that we want to start a business. And prior to that, 5 years, we had been researching businesses, looking into different franchises. We were like, okay, how much would it cost to start this franchise, that franchise, all of that. And the kind of money they were quoting us or giving to us or showing us, just we're like, if we had that money, we'll not be here, So, but we didn't have let me not say we didn't have the courage. You know how you know that you want to do something, but then you have your safety net, which is your 9 to 5, your job, which we are always grateful for that. But then the courage to say, okay, I'm going to go after my dreams. I'm going to go after this entrepreneurial journey and all that. We just didn't have that courage until Akin lost his job. Out of the blues, right? He lost his really good job in 2019. And we're like, okay, so we were waiting for the perfect time to start a business. Now it is like there, it's now very, very not perfect because you need an income, right?
And as at that point in time, to give you like one full sentence, I lost my job. We moved to a new house, and we were down to one income that can only pay the mortgage.
That could only pay the mortgage.
Then that was when we saw the business.
Yes.
So there is no better time.
There's no better time to start.
There's no better time.
There will always be something.
Something, yeah.
There will
legitimately,
be
yeah. So point number two, the time will pass by anyway. You know, imagine if you want to travel and you set out at the top of the hour, meaning 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., whatever in your time zone. The moment you drive 10 minutes and you remember, oh, I forgot my passport. And you drive back to your house, that 10 minutes is gone.
Yep.
It is gone. So imagine both of us working when we got married and we did business, family business, like maybe 5 or 6 days,
Yep.
But it was a good experience learning some things you learn from, and you keep those lessons for yourself. But the time that we spent in the corporate world before we got here passed away.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wherever you are,
just start.
Which leads us to the next point. Just start. Back
to this story of 2019 when we were in this difficult situation, we had said to ourselves, okay, now that this job has been taken away from us, what do we do? What do we do? Of course, he applied to jobs here and there. My own job was paying the mortgage, so now we were depending on our credit cards and line of credits to do groceries or gas or pay for the kids extracurricular and stuff like that. But how long were we going to sustain that, right? And so a few months after that, we said to ourselves, we need to do something drastic, because you've gone for interviews, nobody's calling you back. The only one place that called you back said they couldn't pay you because of your experience. And in fact, at that time, we were saying to them, okay, whatever it is you want to pay, just pay, right? Like, we just need a second income. And they said, ethically, we can't. We can't, because your experience level is up here, and what we are looking for, or the kind of pay we can give, is down here, right? And so we took a chance on this online business, and we said, okay, this is not the best time. We don't have the money. Right now, all we have is our credit card, really, to start this business.
The one we put under the bed.
Exactly.
The last of the last credit card.
Could you imagine having credit cards as your emergency fund? Like, this is not even an emergency fund. It is not your money.
Because the bank can wake up and cancel or change the program, and then, which it did happen for one of our cards, like a store card. They just woke up, canceled the program, done.
Exactly. So how could you depend on credit cards as your emergency funds, right? But that was what we did, because we didn't have a choice, right? Anyway, so we went into our credit cards, started our business, and this was back in 2019. Within a year, things had drastically changed. And to be honest, we didn't expect it.
Yep.
We had said to ourselves, okay, we've run businesses in the past. For 15 years, Aki and I have been trying different businesses. And we said, okay, so what is the time that we're going to put on paper for ourselves to say, let's give this thing our best shot. And if it doesn't work in this frame of time, we can say we tried our best, it just didn't work out,
And we started, there's a reason for stopping there, because that story will be completed in the last point. But we started. That was the third point. But the fourth point is there's always a solution. So what was our solution in our situation? Was that we used those last credit card to get started with the business, but we were doing different things. We did food deliveries, grocery deliveries, and like we signed up to four
different platforms.
4 different ones. We picked up shifts like crazy. She was doing, I was doing, and there was a year I drove into the new year. Like, I just wanted to make up the number. As an entrepreneur, you don't go to bed. You are always thinking, you're always dreaming, you're always, strategizing. Oh, what is the tactical move if I do this or do that? What will be the end result, or who can I learn from? Who can I ask? Which book can I read? How can I grow my mindset, or how can I develop my brain in terms of business, in terms of customer relations, in terms of people management, business growth, and finances and family at the same time, and
our own relationship.
So all of that. So in your situation, there is a solution. You just have to sit down and analyze it, recognize the reality, and find a way to get out of the situation gradually. So the last point, then you will know about setting expectation.
Yes.
But the last point is think long term.
Yeah. So we had said, like I said, before Akin stopped me, that we had written on paper that we were going to give ourselves 2 years. So in 2 years, we were not going to just say, well, 2 years has passed and it didn't work out. We were going to give it our best shot, right? We were going to give it our best shot. We're going to be consistent. We're going to be dedicated and all of these things. And, truly, the first 6 months was crazy. Why was it crazy? It was because we started the business. A month and a half later, our son was diagnosed with a chronic illness. And it was like as if things couldn't get any worse, right? It was like, OMG, now we have no money. We just started a new business. We're still trying to, get by. We have all these platforms that we signed up for. Well, 4 of them, Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, Instacart, and DoorDash. So we had signed up for these 4. We're trying to get money from all over the place so that we could at least keep up with our family expenses.
Grocery and gas in general.
Exactly, right? And so we had said, we'll give it our all for 2 years. And so a month and a half later, our son was diagnosed. We were like, OMG. We were crushed. We were all of these things. We were going through all these emotions, trying to build a new business, trying to keep up with everything. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Woo. But so 6 months in, while we're doing all of these things, we were putting 2 hours a day in our business. And these 2 hours, we could only find it from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And so we say to people sometimes when we're talking about this business and we're like, yes, you go out there and work a 9 to 5. You are building somebody else's dream. You are working for somebody else and building their own legacy and empire. You don't come home and go to bed because you are tired. Because if you do that, you'll continue to, that's the cycle you'll find yourself in for decades. We did that for 20 years.
Unconscious habits.
Unconscious habits, because you're like, yeah, whatever. Like Eric Worre said yesterday, I think it was on Saturday, he said this one, and he was like, when you go to a 9 to 5, there's no effort. Because all you have to do is show up, do your daily task.
And go
home, and your checks will come every 2 weeks. But as an entrepreneur, you put in a lot more effort because you're building your own legacy. You're building your own future. You're building or changing and writing your own story. So anyway, the time that we could find really after going through all of this ups, everything in the day was 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And we would, go to bed around 2 and then wake up at 6 and start again. And so for 6 months, we were losing sleep. In fact, some people will reach out to me and say, oh, you should sleep. I'm like, when I become a millionaire, I'll sleep. The millionaires don't sleep.
But they do.
I mean, they do.
Yeah, they do.
But this was how we were encouraging ourselves back in the day. Like, we're like, look, when we make the money, we will sleep as long as we want. And that's what we're doing now anyway. But, back then, we really, really put our all in. And by the 1 year mark, I quit my job to stay at home with my husband, because of course, all this while he wasn't working. Remember, he had lost his job back in February and we started the business in September, right? And so by the next year, September, I knew that I could quit my job. Why? Not because we're just faith in it. It was because we had started seeing results by month 6, and by month 12, we were making double what both of us were making in the corporate world. And we thought, oh, if with just 2 hours a day for the last 1 year, we were able to achieve this. Could you imagine if we doubled our effort? Could you imagine if we put in 4 hours a day? Could you imagine if we put in 8 hours a day trying to build our business? Right. And this was what excited us back then. We're like, oh, oh my God, And I put in my resignation, left my job, of course, gave them notice. So by October, I was boss free, October 2020. And it's been amazing since then. We're still stay-at-home parents till now. So this brings us to our success story. We're still stay-at-home parents up until now. Aki and I, we take all the naps in the world. We sleep
watch
and
movies
watch
anytime.
sleep and wake up whenever we want. Actually, that's not true, because we still wake up to send the kids to school. We still wake up to send them to school, but we control our calendar, right? Like Mondays, for instance, we shut down our calendar for our business coaching. We don't do anything on Mondays. Well, we do stuff like we watch TV. Mondays are our movie and relaxation day, right? So the kids are not home. We get up in the morning, have breakfast, and then come down to our family lounge and just watch TV all day long, watch our movies and stuff. It's just been an amazing ride. And to know that what we have right now is in our name, is in our legacy that we are leaving for our children, something that we can actually put in our written will to be passed on to our children. It is the best feeling in the world. It is the best feeling.
It's all about freedom.
Yeah.
And it's all about the lifestyle you want to live. Money is a byproduct that will help you to do all of those things. But at the end of the day, or today is the day to really have a rethink, from everything we've shared with you, that, what am I doing? Because we started asking ourselves,
Yep.
what are we doing? Where are we? Where are we going? How can we make our lives better? Those are the questions in our head. We got so curious and we got so uncomfortable in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
But even before we got to the uncomfortable situation, we were uncomfortable in a comfortable situation. Because before the job was taken away, we started asking questions. Why do we have to go to work? Why are we limited in terms of the income we made? Why can't we just travel anytime we want to? Why do we have to take permission before I travel? Can I not fly business class? So that was when we were comfortable with 2 jobs each, but we were not able to do those things. But when we got into the environment of uncomfortability, when the job was taken away, we continued with the questions. And then we answered all of those 5 questions that we share with you, which is, number 1, there's no better time. Situations always happening every day. There's no better time. Yeah. Number 2, the time will pass away anyway. Look at us now. 4 years ago, where were we? Yeah. And where are we now as we speak with you?
Where are we now?
Number 3, just start. We started from where we were. Number 4, there's always a solution. There's always a way out. They say once there is a will, there is a way out. And the last point is, think long term. I think that is huge.
It is. Yeah.
The owners of the biggest brands, they started when they were young.
Yeah. And just thinking about the fact that if one had because many of us start working, let's say in our very early 20s. So let's say you start working at 20 and retirement age is 65. So you've worked for 45 years in order to secure a pension, right? And remember, whilst you were working that 45 years, your salary probably wasn't enough for you, okay? And then when you get to your pension years, right, from 65 and above or 67, whatever, the money that they're paying you reduces. So tell me how you've built a lifestyle for 45 years. How do you downsize to meet up with the amount of money you're getting in your pension. How? Because you're already used to a certain lifestyle. Imagine now downgrading yourself when you are supposed to now be resting and enjoying yourself.